Good morning, afternoon, evening, night, whenever you are listening to episode 13 of What's Up Castleberry. My name is Andy Searles. I'm here with my partner in crime, Drew. Say hi, Drew.
Hey, glad to be here.
You are listening to the What's Up Castleberry podcast quarantine edition number 2. We have moved from our studio at Willow Creek to our studio in Robin's apartment to now sitting in our homes via Zoom. And so if you're experiencing any quality issues, it has nothing to do with Drew and I. It's all to do with the platform we're using. So maybe we got some grace today, Drew. I don't know.
I hope so. If you hear a ruckus in the background, it's probably my dog Holly. You know, she's ferocious. If you know who she is. No, it's actually not at all. She never makes a sound.
Well, we're recording about 10 o'clock in the morning, so it's quite likely that my children will stumble out of bed anytime soon and say, "Hey, Dad, what's going on? What are you doing?" But we are Castleberry. We are a podcast about Castleberry by residents of Castleberry about Castleberry-related issues, and our guests are in some way involved with Castleberry. We are your community podcast, and we want to encourage you and share with you what's happening in our community. So, Drew, how are you doing? We're talking via Zoom. How goes it over there?
It's going okay. Zoom, zoom, zoom. Wasn't that like a car ad back in the day? Zoom, zoom, zoom.
Something. Yeah, was it Audi or VW?
Yeah, or Mazda or something. Yeah.
It's probably says a lot that we can't remember what car it is.
It made me in the mood to buy some car. I just don't know what brand.
Hey, well, just buy a few. Why not? You'll figure it out.
Well, yes. Zoom is very much a major part of my life right now. As a pastor, it's one of the main ways I've been communicating with our leaders, our staff. Talks via Zoom. Our small group leaders are talking through Zoom. You and I and producer Robin are talking through Zoom. It's an interesting time of life when it feels like the most and closest interaction I'm having with dear friends and coworkers is through a computer screen. It's just odd. It is indeed.
It is. I would agree. My whole world has kind of moved onto this platform as well. I mean, we got Sunday church on there, got team meetings on there, got some counseling appointments on there. I've given some presentations on here, and it's not quite the same. I mean, I wish I'd bought some stock in it before all this broke, because I'm sure they're doing very well. Honestly, they've really created a great product. But I miss seeing you guys. And I think one of the things that I'm learning through moving everything online is how much I miss just the social engagement and the physical touch and the eye contact that comes when you are in proximity to someone. So, grateful for where we are, but I'm missing you guys. Drew, have you had any funny Zoom moments?
Well, absolutely. Number one, and the thing I will miss when we are able to go back to kind of quote normal life, or at least be around each other again, I'll miss being able to wear shorts every day. I've enjoyed this. You see just my chest up. I'm currently wearing some basketball shorts and no shoes. It's kind of nice. It's kind of great.
There are some funny Zoom videos going around. There was one where a colleague, he wasn't even wearing shorts. He just had his underwear on, and he thought he'd clicked off the Zoom call and started walking around his house, but he hadn't clicked off the Zoom call. So all his coworkers were kind of looking at him walking around in his underwear. I don't know if you guys have seen that real life Zoom meeting that's going around, right? Where the folks are sitting around a conference table and conducting their real meeting like it was a Zoom meeting. Just some very, very, very funny stuff.
It sure is. I have been very impressed with the ability of some of our older members of our church. I shared with them, I taught kind of one of their leaders how to use Zoom and a video chat. And I was very impressed. There was actually some really good conversations going on. Sometimes there's feedback So it does make communication a little bit difficult at times. It's definitely not the same as being in person, but there's also the ability to mute other people. And so you gotta like that.
Yes, yeah. Wouldn't it be nice if when we went back to real life quotation marks that we could mute some people as well? I'm just saying. That's funny, but I think you're right. I do think we need to applaud ourselves. It hasn't been easy to shift life online, but there's some folks who've really pioneered, and it hasn't been easy for some, but they've got it done, and they're finding creative, innovative ways to connect and communicate. And honestly, kudos to everybody who's doing that. And if you're struggling with it, if you're still a little fearful about that, I want to encourage you. It's really not as hard as it feels. And just kind of click that button, follow the simple steps, and it will open up a whole new world, not just to connect with folks at work or in the community, but with family members as well. We had a Zoom meeting the other day with Tracy's parents and brothers and our nephew, and it was just an awesome way to sit down, to laugh, and to be together across the miles.
I love that. And speaking of communication, Andy, what a better time to transition to our listener question. We love when our listeners communicate with us through questions, comments. Some of us are just known by a simple text. Maybe Andy and I personally, but if you don't, or even if you do, we'd love to hear from you. And you can reach out to us in a number of different ways and platforms. First and foremost, our Facebook page titled What's Up Castleberry. Please like and subscribe our Facebook page and leave a comment or a direct message. You can Instagram with us at What's Up Castleberry, email at whatsupcastleberry1, the number 1 at gmail.com, or leave a question or comment in the review section of the podcast. And Andy, there are just a ton of things. We mentioned Zoom already, but a ton of ways in which we've seen our city rally around each other, gather together, do and serve one another and its citizens. So the question today is totally appropriate. What are some of the ways that we've seen the city and its citizens rally around the people of Castleberry during this quarantine? This is our chance to celebrate and praise what's going on.
Yeah, and honestly, I think there are lots of good things going on at lots of different levels. Drew, most mornings I've been getting up and walking around the neighborhood, and I don't know if you've seen the little movement to put teddy bears in the window. Have you seen that?
I have. I didn't know what that was about.
Yeah, I believe it's about allowing kids who can't go to school to get out of the house to go on walks and kind of count the teddy bears. And it's a fun little game that people all around the world are taking on. And so the first time as I've been going on my walk, I see this house and there's a teddy bear in the window. I'm thinking, oh man, I wonder if they know that that's there. How did that get? And that get there? And then I realize, oh, they're participating and they're wanting to be a part of things. And I've just been so encouraged by that as well. Another way that I've seen our community come together is that the crime rate in our city and county is really, really low at this time. And again, there's something almost counterintuitive about that, right? You would think that people with not having as much to do maybe and getting frustrated in their homes, they want to, get up to no good. But crime has been suppressed. And I think that's all part of our desire to say, hey, we can do this. We're going to get through this and we're going to get through it in the right way. What about you? What are some ways that you have seen our community rally and come together during this time?
Sure. Well, a couple that come to mind immediately. Number one is seeing how the school, Castleberry Elementary School, I'm sure South Seminole is doing similar works and reaching out to their students. But Castleberry Elementary, they did the parade a couple of weeks ago when teachers drove through the neighborhood. And then this week, they took pictures of lots of different community members, school teachers, administration, other staff, and they left a social media note for their students, just encouraging the students to represent and be good pandas, as it were, since that's the mascot of the school. And I loved that, kind of drawing the community in. Another way, and I just actually received this email last night, is the Sharing Center, which is located in Longwood, but partners and serves the needs of Castleberry folks with physical, tangible needs, reached out and called this coming week Good Samaritan Week, and called on people to take action through, maybe it's raising money for a local cause. Maybe it's providing extra food to donate to one of the food pantries or schools, but just calling this week ahead Good Samaritan Week. It really is incredible to see nonprofits. The churches are gathered. In fact, we're recording on a Friday morning. The churches are gathering for prayer Friday evening. And so lots of really cool ways in which the city and its citizens are connecting. So thank you for that great question. We appreciate it, listeners, and look forward to answering more questions in the future. All right, let's take a quick break and come back with our special guest.
Here at What's Up Castleberry, we are looking for someone who wants to take a great opportunity before them and become a sponsor of our podcast. We're not necessarily looking for any financial sponsorship, but would love to maybe do some trade with you. Our growing podcast is connecting with hundreds of people each week in our community, and would love to help your business grow by inviting you to become a sponsor of our podcast. If you're interested, drop us an email at whatsupcastleberry1@gmail.com, or reach out to us on social media, on our Facebook page or our Instagram page. We'd love to partner with you to make our community better. We have searched high and low. We have looked around the globe to bring you the best that we can today. And our interview is with our very own Mr. Drew Taylor. Drew, welcome to the show like you haven't been here before.
You dug the bottom of the barrel, so to speak, and you pulled me up. So glad to be here, Andy.
Are you kidding me? Listeners, I want you to know we have an award-winning co-host on the show today. Just as we were recording in the break, producer Robin presented Drew virtually with his own Dundee for co-hosting. And so, Drew, I mean, we can call you now an award-winning presenter, which takes our interview to the next level.
It does.
So thanks. Go ahead.
Yeah. Thanks, producer Robin. I feel very empowered now. That was what I needed to push me into this interview seat. So I'm in the interview chair, out of the co-host chair, ready to roll.
The hot seat, as we call it. All right. So, Drew, tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us who you are and what you do and how those two collide.
Sure. Well, thank you, Andy. So I grew up in Florida, a little town called Brooksville. I've mentioned Brooksville on previous podcasts. Very proud of the home in which I was a part of, community which I was a part of. And I've lived in Brooksville. I've lived in Gainesville to go to the University of Florida, and then moved over to the Orlando area, first to Oviedo about 10 years ago. I cannot believe it was 10 years ago that I moved over to this part of the state to go to college, or to actually go to seminary, and then ended up settling in Castleberry about 4 years ago. So I am our assistant pastor at Willow Creek Church PCA. I'm the pastor of families and connections. And so very much what I like to do and enjoy doing in our podcast format with you is I'm all about connecting people. I love identifying commonalities, just interests that people have, building relationships, and encouraging relationships to be built. So that's a little bit about me. And our church, even though it's located in Winter Springs, is kind of right there on the border between East Lake Drive and Seminole, where it becomes from Winter Springs to Castleberry. So I feel very much at home, and I live in Castleberry. So Castleberry is my home, but I also minister in Winter Springs.
Now, one of those most important connections that you've made is with your wife, Becky. Tell us about Becky. How did you guys meet? What do folks need to know about Becky?
Yeah, sure. Well, she is definitely the love of my life. in fact, we are recording this on a Friday. Tomorrow, the 18th, is our 5-year wedding anniversary. We've been married for 5 years. Becky and I met actually through Willow Creek Church. She had been back a short time from college, was teaching at South Seminole Middle School, and she showed up to a Sunday service and made the terrible mistake of filling out the Connect card, one of those informational cards letting folks know you're there. I had just started a small group for kind of young professionals, sort of mid-20s adults. And Becky, when she filled out the Connect card, left her phone number, didn't know what she looked like, didn't know a thing about her, but reached out because she had marked an indication that she would be interested in a small group. And so we spoke on the phone, got to know each other through that conversation a bit, Facebook friended one another. And Becky would like to tell folks that our first time meeting in person, it kind of felt like a blind date. Like, even though she was there for small group and Bible study, it definitely, there were some sparks, you could say. So we met. I'm very thankful, honestly, Andy, that she met me on the phone instead of in person at first. That probably helped my cause.
It gave you a fighting chance. Huh? That's funny. So she signed up for a small group, but ended up signing for a whole lot more than that.
Much more than that. Yes.
That's great. Now, do I hear some laughter in the back of your microphone?
No, she's not back here right now.
Okay.
She's in the other room.
Okay.
Working on some stuff, but yeah, no,
Okay.
she's not there.
All right. Now, if Becky was with us, what would she say is your biggest quirk? What would she say is weird and odd about you?
That's funny. There are many things. I actually asked her this yesterday in preparation for this conversation, and she immediately said that I have this tendency to compartmentalize and place things in little piles around our house, and I do. I tend to have my keys, my phone in one area. I'll have my paper calendar in another. I'll have the whatever book I'm reading at the time in another, headphones. So I just kind of have this trail of Drew's stuff all around. And so Becky, she's not a huge fan of that. She would prefer things go where they're supposed to go. Stop making piles.
And so right she is. We're going to check in with Becky in a couple of weeks and see how you're doing on that. Drew, you're a big sports guy as well. Sports are a big part of your life. Tell us about what teams you support and why, and maybe that will help people make up their mind about you.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that. Our senior pastor that I serve beside, his name is Kevin Labby, and Kevin moved down here about 7-8 years ago from Pittsburgh, and made it very clear to him that it would be wise for him not to declare his allegiance to either the college team, the Florida Gators, or the Florida State Seminoles. We live in Orlando, right in Central Florida, and there's fans of many teams, but in terms of college football, which was always a big part of my fandom in childhood, I told him, stay UCF Knights. You'll be beloved. Everybody in Orlando is fine with you liking the Knights. I do like the Knights. My wife and her family are big UCF fans, and I enjoy rooting for the UCF Knights. But my number one team, the team really that I grew up with deepest in my heart, is the Florida Gators. And I know there's going to be some that are happy about that, some that are not. The reason I'm a Gator fan is I was born into it. My grandfather went to the University of Florida. Both of my parents, myself, several cousins and aunts and uncles. So Gainesville and UF is my favorite team. One other team I'll mention too, just in regards to sports, is the connection you and I have. I love Orlando City, and I root for the Lions. I remember going to a game before they became MLS. I actually was at the championship game when they were semi-pro and winning the championship. And that was just such a cool experience. And then to see them become a major league team and hopefully win some games whenever we play soccer again. So
Yeah, you're pretty passionate about your sport. I mean, I'd love for folks to friend you on Facebook, and as they look deep into your pictures, there's some kind of crazy outfits that you are wearing, but you don't seem embarrassed at all. So what does embarrass you?
That's funny. No, but yeah, dressing up doesn't embarrass me. Doing a funny TikTok video does not embarrass me. Um, I would probably say being called out publicly for saying something wrong. I care very deeply, whether it's sharing about the Bible, about just history, sports, facts, whatever. I definitely like to be right. And if I'm called out and told I'm wrong, and then, which definitely happens, by the way, and then I've proven to be wrong publicly, yeah, that kind of is embarrassing. So
I got you. I think we're all there a little bit. None of us like to be called out. And again, this is coming from a guy who's got a lot of experience of being wrong publicly as well. So let me kind of change the tack of questioning a little bit. This will help our folks get to know you a little bit better. If you could enter time at any period in history, and I'm guessing you probably wouldn't come back in 2020 because it hasn't been a great year. When would you come back? What are some of history's moments that interest you the most?
that's a great question. So I actually was a history undergraduate. That's where I got my degree in from UF. So I definitely am a fan and a studier of history. I have always enjoyed kind of the settling of America. I've really enjoyed kind of that early, and even after 1776, when the Declaration was signed and America became independent. I really enjoyed kind of those early days of seeing how folks but basically go out, and if you claimed, hey, this is my property, you built your own home, you grew your own garden, you raised a family, and life, I can imagine, would have been tougher. I will candidly say I work and mow my yard. That's about as outdoorsy as I get. But it would have been interesting to have lived during a time where you really developed a sense of self-sufficiency, and community was very, very important. Who was immediately around you, your family and close friends and whatnot. So settling of America would have been an interesting time.
Yeah, well, Drew, I do see a lot of that in how you live now. Especially the community building and how can we lean into each other and lean on each other. And it seems like you're living a part of that history, and that's a wonderful thing to see.
I think you and I could make it if things keep going downhill and we're forced to grow our own crops and do what we got to do. We could do it together, couldn't we?
Well, I don't know. I don't know how you grow a taco. So I mean, I'd come to your house and make friends with you, so you'd share with me. I think so.
There you go.
So at the end of the day, we all like to put our head on the pillow, feeling like we've accomplished something. What does a good day look like when you can rest your head and fall asleep knowing you've done something? What is a good day?
A good day for me definitely begins and ends with relationship building. This time that we're in, this quarantine, has been very challenging. And one thing that I've really made a conscious effort on is spending time with the people that I love the most. For me, that starts with a time in prayer and talking to God in the morning. And then from there, it's spending quality time every day with Becky, my wife, making sure we have at least, a couple of minutes of quality conversation and some sort of connection. And beyond that, though, I feel accomplished when I'm connected with our church members, our church family, as I refer to them. So right now it looks like Zoom calls and text messages and Facebook interactions, but in a typical week, it would be rubbing elbows, talking to folks on our staff, and just out and about in the community. So building relationships and continuing to foster those relationships.
That's good. I get it. So, Drew, a couple of questions wrapped into one. Where do you see yourself in 10 years? And as a member of our city here in Castleberry, where would you like to see our community in 10 years?
Huh. Well, in 10 years, let's see, I will be, 45. So hopefully still alive. Hopefully still walking this earth. But I would say, first and foremost, I want to see for personally a healthy marriage. Love to be a father, Lord willing, in 10 years and raising children. Would love to be in Castleberry in 10 years. My wife and I have no plans to leave. We love our city. We love our neighborhood, our community here. And as far as just the community goes, I would love to really see the church, the collective church. That's Willow Creek, where I'm at, is one of those churches. But the church really being a key player in terms of identifying needs of citizens, of seeking the peace and the prosperity of the city. That's a topic and a term we use very often on this podcast. But I would love to see the church really back the city of Castleberry and have a face and an impact in all spheres of life: the school, the police, local government, the business community, the parks, you name it. The church has a fingerprint on those different areas.
I love that too, because I think there's so much that the church can offer in terms of support and care and values and character and hope. And man, I want to walk with you into that vision, because that's very, very exciting. So continuing down that thread, if time and money were no object, what's one thing that you could do to improve our community?
Great question. This is sort of a question that allows me and forces me to dream big. And I have thought about this idea in different facets for many years now. Let me give a little bit of background. So when I was in undergrad at the University of Florida, at the time I was studying history, and I planned on being a coach and a teacher. And basketball has always been my favorite sport. And so I got to know through volunteering at the local Gainesville High School some basketball players on the team. And one thing that I found through that experience was being in the lives of about 15 young men who were under my charge, as well as the other coaches. We learned that, while school isn't for everybody, that not everyone loves education and feels themselves to be a person that can learn and grow and mature in that way, although we do call all folks to learn. What I found was that through the mechanism of basketball, through sport or through activity, that you could build relationships very easily. And the relationships could then delve into talking about things that matter, things like family and faith and the future. And so one goal that I've sort of always had from that very formative experience back in college would be, if money was no object, I would love to start a community center. More than recreation, I would love this center to really be centered around faith. So encouraging people to talk about particularly kids and children, but folks of all ages, to talk about faith and things that matter. A place for the community to gather together, and because we know we're better together, to spend time together to learn, to offer basic social services like job care and help, or GED training. There's all the opportunities, potentials are limitless, but to basically have a hub, a central station, a community center that children, adults, folks of all ages could come and gather and participate and do things together. So that would be my goal, my dream, so to speak.
I love that. That's tremendously exciting. Drew, I want to thank you for being with us today, but you are always going to be with us because the podcast isn't the podcast without you. But thanks for stepping on the hot seat and allowing me and our listeners to get to know you a little bit better. We look forward to getting to know you even more as we continue to listen to the podcast, as we see you out and about around town. How do folks catch up with you? How do they follow you and find you and communicate with you?
Thanks, Andy. And yes, enjoy very much doing this together with you. You can find me on my personal Facebook page, Drew Taylor. I'm very active on our church Facebook page, Willow Creek PCA. You could email me, dtaylor352@gmail.com. It's probably the easiest email. And I'd love to hear from you. Love to hear not only feedback about the podcast, but whatever we can do to just talk about Castleberry or things that matter to you. So love these conversations. Thanks.
One last question. What does the 352 stand for in your email address?
The 352 is.
I'm thinking you're not born in March 1952.
No, not that old. 352 is the area code of Brooksville, where I grew up in Hernando County. So always remembered my roots. 352.
There you go. That's awesome. Drew, thank you so much for being our guest today. I want to ask you now to take off your guest hat and put on your co-host hat, because I understand that you have a moment of inspiration for us today.
Yes, sir. All right. Much more comfortable back in my normal co-host seat. Andy and listeners, I hope this is encouraging to you, particularly in the times that we live in. This is a poem by Rudyard. Is that how you say it? Rudyard?
I would say Rudyard.
Rudyard, no. Yes, Rudyard Kipling.
You know, I used to know. I have this quote that you're going to share actually in our guest bathroom.
Oh, amazing! So you have this quote, and I have this quote in my office. Here's the quote: "If you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you, yours is the earth and everything that's in it. And what's more, you'll be a man, my son." This is a poem from Mr. Kipling written specifically to calling boys to become men. But I think the first part of that quote, if you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you, doesn't it feel like today that nothing we do or don't do ever feels like enough? Whether you're a parent at home, you're trying to work, you're trying to find employment, you're trying to socially distance yourself, whatever it is, it always feels like we could be doing more or doing different. And my encouragement from this poem is keep your head. Remember what's significant, what's important, and keep the main thing, even if all others are kind of being chaotic around you. Just keep a level head and be encouraged this week. Well, you want me to close this out, Andy?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay.
I was just going to say that's a great quote. I love it. When you said it's one of those transitional poems that talks about boys becoming men, I thought you were going to break into some Boys to Men. Yeah, but
maybe that'll be the outro music someday. Well, we hope so much that you've enjoyed this episode of the What's Up Castleberry podcast. Our goal is to have a casual conversation about our community. This podcast is produced so faithfully by our lovely producer, Robin Kepi.
Woohoo!
James Bittner. The music you heard at the beginning and the end is provided by Jeremy Birdsall. Graphics by Christian Moscoso. For more information, please check out our Facebook page, Instagram, podcast feed, and email, all with the name What's Up Castleberry. We'd love you to like and subscribe. Send this to a friend, a neighbor, and rate and review us. And until next time, we hope you have a great week.